Okay, good evening, everyone. This is GP and Gejo here, and we will today be discussing how do you analyze the VRC section. If you remember the previous session, we had done the overview and we had discussed the concept of Occart score, and so now we do the follow up of that. Today we'll be discussing VRC section as to how that section has to analyze. In the next one, we'll do DILR, and the last one we'll do quantitative aptitude. Okay. But before we proceed, before I ask Gijo to chip in, just a quick word on the change of timing. All these sessions we'll now be doing at 8:30 p.m. because students were telling us that sir 1 o'clock in the afternoon doesn't work for us. So हमने कहा ठीक है, we'll do it in the evening, works for us also. So our session in future will be all at 8:30 p.m. Yes, Gijo, over to you.
Yeah. Wonderful, wonderful. So, good evening to all of you. And we are going to discuss how to analyze the mock of the VR section. What I want in the comment box is to kind of write down some of the problems that you're facing. So, I hope that we are live. I'm guessing we are live. I can see some people who are already live, but I can't see any comments. So, okay, we'll
Yeah,
figure that
neither
out.
I can see any comments.
Okay, we'll figure that out along the way. Anyway, so I'll kickstart the presentation. So what we'll try and discuss today is three things. One, obviously, we'll have to address this question as to why does the VRC score fluctuate so much. So whatever analysis that we are doing, we're obviously doing analysis for score improvement. But while the score improves, the score also actually fluctuates so much. I believe it's important to understand why the score fluctuates. That's the first thing that we'll discuss. Then we'll get into the right decision you should make in the test. I mean, VRC is one of the outcome as to why the scores fluctuate is also about the decision that we make, and they'll discuss about the right decision. Then we get into based on the two things that we discussed, we look at how should that one analyze a section for score improvement. And hopefully this session will give you a good idea in terms of how to move ahead so that you can improve your score. So that is basically the agenda. And then if you have any questions, we'll pick that up as well. And me and here GPA would be here to discuss all the questions and many more. Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
So let's
Yeah,
start with sorry.
just a second. Neha, can you check? We are not seeing any comments. I don't know if there are questions on front or not. It seems unlikely, but if you could just check out, maybe there are no questions. Maybe there are questions and they are not visible to us. Yes, Gijo, let's go forward. Sorry.
Chalo, take it. All right. So why does the VRC score fluctuate? The question is, of course, fluctuation both hota hai. And I'll put up this is the CAT 2023 score versus rank. When I say rank, obviously its percentile is a rank for the VRC section, the scale score. This is based on, so obviously this data is based on the response sheet that the student has posted on our site. About 25,000, 30,000 students gave the response sheet after the CAT got done. So we have that data. So this may not be the data of the entire 2 lakh, but nevertheless gives a good perspective. What you obviously see is that, like as always, one of the things that you see is there is kind of a very steep increase, and this is a increase in score with a slightly low percentile. There, the game is very different, but otherwise, the increase is kind of linear till a particular point in time. And I don't know, some of you would be maybe in your 20s, let's put that as the 20s. Maybe some of you would be in your 30s, some of you maybe in your 40s. If you actually look at the data and look at, let's say, the percentile, so this is about in your 20s, that's about the 80th percentile. In your 30s, you'll get there, that'll be your 90th percentile. In your 40s, you'll hit very close to the 99th percentile. And if you are in a single digit, that is probably you are somewhere in your 60th percentile. ये कहानी है. But actually from 10 to 20, if you look at the movement of 10 to 20, that's probably about 4 questions. मतलब 4 क्वेश्चन में, so if you look at the lower scores, the 4 questions here and there will have a huge impact on your percentile rank. And we had discussed this time last time GP as well. अपने को percentile rank छोड़ना है. Fluctuation in percentile rank is going to be huge in terms of VRC. हमें fluctuation in score देखना है ना GP.
Yes. It's only fluctuation in marks that we need to worry about. Percentile से मेरा कोई लेना देना नहीं है. I am never bothered about percentile. तो ये क्यों होता है यार ये? Why do the scores, and forget about percentile, even marks for many students fluctuate a lot.
हाँ, so marks fluctuation में एक कहानी ऐसा है, तो अगर if I compare VRC to QA, है ना, imagine this is exam hall, है ना, and if I let's take QA as a paper test, you need to bring some knowledge before, so there has
Yes.
to be some knowledge which is prior knowledge is required. For example, if I have to solve questions on geometry, then I need to have knowledge about geometry, at least formulas. So what
Yeah.
happens is that before coming to the examination, we'll have a certain idea in terms of let's say arithmetic, algebra, geometry, modern maths, numbers. We have some sort of an idea in terms of our comfort level with each of these, our level of knowledge in this, our level of competence in
Right.
this, and we kind of apply that in the paper. I'm sure a lot of people don't even look at some question in geometry. वो जो arithmetic का problem है वो करते हैं, वो करके निकलते हैं answers. And other thing is that इसमें option confusion तो होगा नहीं. There is no question of option confusions. मतलब solve करता है,
Yes.
you'll get the answer. But if I
हाँ,
look
या
at
आंसर आएगा या नहीं आएगा, या जो
नहीं
भी
आएगा.
आएगा वो मार्क कर दोगे.
हाँ, तो इसका फ्लक्चुएशन कितना है? फ्लक्चुएशन ऑल डिपेंड अपॉन तेरा कंफर्ट एरिया में कितना क्वेश्चन आया, बस ये है फ्लक्चुएशन. सो या सो द एंड देन एटलीस्ट we'll have a sense. तो फ्लक्चुएशन ज्यादा होता नहीं है. बट व्हेन इट कम्स टू बीआरसी, स्टोरी बहुत अलग है. बीआरसी में व्हाट प्रायर नॉलेज इज रिक्वायर्ड, कौन सा प्रायर नॉलेज लेके आएंगे? वी डोंट इवन नो व्हाट द पैसेज इज. There is no sense of any prior knowledge. Obviously, your kind of words, meaning, was vocabulary, वो सब है. But whatever is required to answer the question, everything is in the test only. It's practically an open book exam. If you look at the reading comprehension answers is there in the passage. Everything. So whatever happens in the exam hall. And there is it's all about the information to answer the question is something that you have to figure out in the hall. So for example, if I'm reading the passage, वो 5 मिनट में मैंने जो passage पढ़ा, उसमें जो information निकाला, that knowledge, that sort of knowledge that I gain in the particular passage is what is going to help you answer the question. तो उसमें ना जीपी को बहुत सारे चीज can impact the score in VRC, which is not the case in QA. तो ये एक चीज है VRC में.
And इसमें ना एक चीज और है इसमें, if I just add to what you're saying, जैसे कि quant के अंदर you say these are the topics in which I'm comfortable, so I'll focus on them. Out here I find students doing the same thing, that these are the kind of passages I'm comfortable with, so I'll answer those questions only which pertain to those passages. So I am comfortable with politics, but what if there's no passage of politics? Okay, or maybe there's a passage of politics. It could be difficult also because the issue there is, as you always say, the devil is not in the passage, the devil is in the questions and the options. It is the questions and especially the options which make a passage easy or difficult. So the topic or the subject of the passage is completely incidental, and that should not be the criteria. And unlike quant, where you say, okay, these kind of questions I can handle, in English, in RC especially, you have to start by saying, the passage is there, I will read it and answer. I will not be biased towards a particular kind of passage, because the passages don't make a passage easy or difficult. It is the question and the option which make it. The second thing which I find interesting as far as verbal is concerned, or English or IC is concerned, जैसे कि मैं हमेशा कहता हूँ, most of us speak wrong English confidently. And the same stupid habit we carry into this paper. We mark wrong answers confidently. नहीं समझ आया, mark कर दो, देखी जाएगी. That chalta hai attitude is something which is very stupid, because I have not understood the passage when you are speaking. We will mix Hindi, we will mix Kannada, we will mix Tamil, we will mix Punjabi along with English and somehow communicate the message. But that will not work in this paper when you are looking at the reading comprehension. You have to understand the passage. If you have not understood the passage, going through the questions and trying to mark anything as an answer is not going to work. So that mode has to change. I can speak wrong English confidently, no issues at all, but I should not be going to the passage saying, even if I don't understand the passage, I'll try to mark an answer to every stupid question.
So the other thing is about option creations. QMA, how are the options created? For example, there is a correct answers and there are some wrong answers. Wrong answer is a question set assessment about some mathematical mistakes that we'll be making. करेक्ट ना?
Yes.
तो मतलब कुछ तो एक you basically took a certain figure plus को minus कर दिया ये वाला. I think that wrong answer is based on a mathematical mistake. So it's
Right.
very likely if you made a mathematical mistake you can find the answer there, you will probably mark it. So इसमें confusion होता नहीं है. यहाँ पे the option creation is very very different. So there are the 4 possibilities of the option creation, and these 4 possibilities option itself will change the story completely. For example, question setter ko one answer choice has to be correct. So let's assume that answer choice 1 is correct, and the question setter has to create a wrong answer choice. The wrong answer choice is like an answer choice which has got some trap. कुछ तो trap है उसके अंदर. And
Right.
what the question setter wants to do is to create some awesome traps. And it's sort of very difficult to create very very appealing trap. मतलब बहुत दिखता है answer है लेकिन नहीं है answer. वो level का it's very very difficult. So sometimes the answer, the wrong answer, the choice a very stupid trap. I'm just using word stupid. Okay. All the 3 are very stupid, very easy question. Kabhi kabhi though answer choices are very easy trap. I'm putting stupid as a word, but I'm saying easy trap. And there is probably one answer.
Stupid would be very easy to eliminate or very easy to
Yeah.
identify as wrong.
Then एक होगा awesome trap. Then there will be question setter, उसको निकाल दिया 2 amazing trap, एक stupid trap. And then the very rare scenario, एक awesome, everything is an awesome trap. ये वाला scenario likely होता नहीं है. Usually इधर होता है. You've seen GP, everybody says that, sir, I can eliminate 2 answer choices. Lekin I end up getting confused between 2. This is not an achievement. Achievement नहीं है. तो ये usually ये होता है. अब से I think ये वाला questions उसको मतलब we can call it kind of an easy sort of question, but ये वाला question में problem है. So the problem is that GP, when a lot of people say that मुझे philosophy passage समझता नहीं है, मैं करूंगा नहीं. मुझे let's say for example I am comfortable with science passage, मैं science में करूंगा. What are the one of the factors that happens in VRC is more importantly how the question setters create the option. Either बहुत सारा गेम पड़ता है. So even if let's say I understood the particular passage, the option creation can make your life difficult. So VRC in the sense the fluctuation is too much GP, and I can think about lot of decisions that can impact the score because everything is based on what happens in those 40 minutes. For example, reading faster than your pace of comprehension, over analysis of passage and question, taking unnecessary risk, getting stuck in difficult questions, misinterpreting key detail, कुछ मच गया, poor time management, skipping easy question, बहुत सारे question skip करते because passage is skip करता है, inconsistent focus and concentration. Sometimes we are reading the 3rd paragraph, we don't know how we reached here. Lack of familiarity with a different passage type. For example, passage came, I don't know from where I've read it, and goes on and on and on and on and on. Anything here sort of will impact the score of VRC. ऐसा for example, ये level of problem is not there so much in QA. कुछ हो सकता है DLR में, but इसमें for GP you are talking about taking this unnecessary risk ना आप देखा जाएगा, आप अभी बोल रहे थे. That is going to change the game completely only. So ये
And Jijo, इसमें ना मैं एक चीज और ऐड करूंगा, and that I find very very common. I will attempt only 2 passages and get everything right. Because to attempt 2 passages, what are you telling him? I'll read each and every passage very slowly. I try to understand each and every word. And so the first point which you have written, reading faster than your pace, reading slower than your pace is more harmful than reading faster. Because when you're saying I read only 2 passages, what we are trying to do is go through each and every word and line and try to not only understand the passage but also remember data and fact. That is not the requirement. It is reading comprehension. It is not reading remembrance. So reading comprehension means try to understand the passage as a whole, get the broad idea, and based on that mark the answers. When you are going slow, you are completely missing the bus. And not only that, the other thing which will happen is skipping easy question will also happen. Because if you are doing only 2 passages, there will be 2 passages which you have left completely, which will have at least 2, if not more, at least 2 easy questions each. Rather than doing 8 questions from 2 passages, I would be happier doing 2 questions from 4 passages each. 2 questions each from 4 passages, because each of those passages will definitely have 1 or 2 easy questions. I want to do only the easy questions. So to me, I have never understood this. नहीं, मैं धीरे धीरे पढ़ूंगा, सब कुछ समझूंगा, भैया नहीं होता उसमें कुछ.
ये नहीं होता है. तो ये तो मतलब at the end of the day, analyzing VRC is maths में कैसे होता है? Analyzing is like analyzing your skills, your knowledge and stuff. Here analyzing VRC is analyzing your decisions. Obviously your skill भी analyze करना है, but more importantly analyze your decision. तुम्हारा ये decision that you do in VRC section is plays tremendous role. Like what GPS said. GPS said कि यार बहुत सारे लोग हैं, मैं 2 passage ही करूंगा. तो मैंने पहले से डिसाइड कर लिया, उसने दिया 4 पैसेजेस और 8 बीए क्वेश्चंस थे, तूने पहले डिसाइड कर लिया मैं 2 करूंगा ही नहीं। तो मतलब 8 क्वेश्चंस मैंने वैसे निकाल दिया। देन व्हाट इज योर एटीट्यूड? कुछ भी करके ना मेरा ये वाला 8 क्वेश्चन सभी सही करना है। देन व्हाट जीपी सेड, मुझे एक एक्स्ट्रा फोकस से पढ़ना है। but eventually you so the what eventually happens,
This is
what
desperation आ जाएगी.
eventually what happens na, you end up spending about 30 minutes here, so you end up spending 15 minutes per passage. जीपी बहुत सारे लोग बोलते हैं I spend 15 minutes per passage, therefore I can only solve 2 passages. Actually ulta hai,
उल्टा
because
है.
you decided to solve 2 passages, you've decided to spend 15 minutes per passage. Yeah, I think we'll get into this detailed discussion immediately. So every single decision makes a sense. So when you are in the test, abhi whatever you prepared, skills that you build, abhi tu test likh raha hai, सामने question है. अच्छा, तो अभी this say now is implementation time, now it's decision time. Now you have to put your skill in use. The analyzing VRC section would be about analyzing decision. GP have heard a lot of students saying this question, sir, my scores are fluctuating, I don't know why my scores are fluctuating. मुझे नहीं पता समझ रहा है सर VRC में हो क्या रहा है. ये I think absolutely crucial is we may not find solution to any of this problem, but it's very very important कि understand what the problem is. अब तो प्रॉब्लम समझ में नहीं आएगा, सॉल्यूशन शायद होगा नहीं, मतलब मिलेगा नहीं, but at least if you understand the problem. So we cannot be in the situation in VRC after the test, after 3-4 tests, you are getting up and saying that मुझे सर समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, तो क्या हो रहा है सर, स्कोर उठ ही नहीं रहा है, 20 से 30 नहीं जा रहा है, 30 से 40 नहीं जा रहा है, कभी कभी 40 हो रहा है, कभी 10 हो रहा है सर, ये this cannot happen GP. So ये
And actually what you are given out here is what the students need to ask themselves. Was I reading faster than my normal pace? Was I going deeper? And जो हिंदी में कहते हैं बाल की खाल निकाल रहा था. Was I over analyzing the passages? Was I unnecessarily marking answers even when? So if you answer these questions, you will analyze the paper. So verbal analysis is essentially this slide, if you ask me, and this is what is going to give you the answer to your questions. कि मेरा score क्यों fluctuate कर रहा है? Why am I not able to get a good score? The answer is in one of these questions or a few of these questions only.
Yeah. So with that,
एक last question है, एक last my comment before we move to the next one.
Sure.
The last point है ना, which is what students say. To me, this is the most stupidest reason to get a lower score.
Yeah.
Familiarity से मेरे को कोई लेना देना ही नहीं ना. Familiarity has got nothing to do with this. I have a passage I have to read, I have to understand, I have to mark the answer. So I have not biology. I don't understand. Big deal. I will read the passage to whatever extent I have understood. Maybe I'll do 1 question, 2 questions, 3 or 4 questions. So lack of familiarity is not a reason for poor performance in this paper, is what I want you to understand. When you are saying familiarity is important, you are creating problems for yourself. You are switching off the moment you see an unfamiliar passage. Okay?
Correct.
Remember, even in the passage types which you are comfortable with, it could be unfamiliar to you because it will be talking about something you have never heard about.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, you have to say that cat, you bring it on. जो भी देगा मैं पढ़ूंगा. But यार हमने, I think all of us are more than 20 years of age, ना. हमने we have read enough stuff. How can we say that if some information, some stuff is given to us, I can't read it, I cannot understand it. What is that logic? So anyways, so we'll get into, since we are talking about decision, we'll get it deeper in terms of this right decision, especially the things that GP was saying. What is the real impact of solving 2 passages, of the attitude of leaving on passages, if so the right decision. So this is basically the cat story. You've got 4 RC passages. This is a sentence placement. Some people call it paragraph completion question. So I call it sentence placement. This is odd sentence. This is paragraph jumble. This is paragraph summary. Yeah, this is at least the 2023 story. And this is the last year's CAT 2023 percentile versus marks distribution. So you're looking at something like a 99 percentile. Matlab you need to get about net 12 questions correct. 90th percentile we need about 8 question net correct, and about 95th percentile you require about 10 question net correct. Yeah, na? Yeah, basic story. Yeah. The first is impact of accuracy versus attempt. Let me just put this data out. Let me explain this. Okay. So let's say this is the attempt. So you're attempting 16 question, you're attempting 20 question, you're attempting 24 question. And let's say you got 40% accuracy, you got 50% accuracy, you got 75% accuracy. Within, for example, if at 24 attempt, you got 40% accuracy, this is a score that you will get, and that's a percentile that you'll get. At 50% accuracy, this is a score that you'll get, that's a percentile that you get. At 75% accuracy, this is a score that you get, and that's a percentile that you get. One thing that I have to tell students here is, ये 50 to 75% 75% accuracy में ना, in VRC जल्दी हो जाता है. For example, RC में there are 4 questions. Sometimes you'll get 2 questions correct, 2 questions wrong. Sometimes you'll get 3 questions correct, 1 question wrong. But this is 50% accuracy, this is 75% accuracy. So 50 to 75% accuracy fluctuation बहुत होता है. So one thing, first thing GP, मतलब जो भी हो, whatever question they're attempting, anything less than 50% accuracy, मतलब कुछ होगा नहीं life में. ये पहला story है. मतलब if I'm attempting 10 questions, or if I'm attempting, let's say 2x questions, that's my attempt. If your correct answer is anything less than x, then it's going to be a problem. It doesn't matter how many questions attempting, it is over only. This is sort of story number 1. And at 50% accuracy, if you're attempting all the 24 questions, your score is 24, you will hit that to the 90th percentile. But you attempt 16 questions, you hit about 70th percentile. And if you're attempting about, if you're able to hit the very high accuracy, at 24 question you will hit very high percentile. At 20 question you will hit about 99th percentile. At 16th you will hit about 97th percentile. So if I kind of look at the graph here, what we want is obviously get your attempt as high as possible, get your accuracy as high as possible. I think that you would want to be sort of somewhere here. If you want to be in your 40s or 30s, if you want to get your scores above 30s, then your accuracy has to be above 50%. So as close to about 75%. 75% accuracy, as close to that, you'll hit the 30s. But you're able to hit the high number of attempts. It's very intuitive. I think there is nothing major about this. But those GP, those students were attempting 2 passages, na? 2 passages only. मतलब ये है ना, इधर 8 है, उधर 8 है, वो इधर है. मतलब 5 mark है. If you are able to get about 75% accuracy, almost every single question correct, तू जाएगा 95%. I have a different question. If after attempting 16 question, अपना इतना औकात है to get every single question correct, why don't we attempt 4 more? So there
I
is.
was about to say the same thing. अगर इतना bond है तो you can definitely look at increasing your attempt. Because you look at this way, Gejo, 16 questions, 75% accuracy. If I do 24 questions, even with 60% accuracy, I'm likely to be better off.
Correct.
60% accuracy, 2/3. 24 questions, not 75%. Let me say 2/3 right. So 16 right. Okay. So 16 sees a 48, and 8 wrong. I'll be at 40.
66% accuracy at 24 questions. Yes, you'll be at 40 and 99 percentile. So one of the things that यहाँ पे नहीं होना चाहिए. मतलब ये वाला row is gone.
16 attempt to me is dangerous, because what this means is you will need a very high accuracy. And accuracy in English is, you will get to know only later on कि गलत किया है. Because when you're marking an answer, you are obviously marking it because you think it is right, but you are probably taking a chance. You have not fully understood, something would have happened. Okay? So I will not bet on the very high accuracy. I will say I'll read, mark an answer, move on.
इधर रहने वाला तो ये आउट है. मतलब ये वाला चीज
आउट है. I will say look at 20 attempts. I will also go a step and say that 16 is again out to me, because 16 means I'm almost saying कि 2 passage नहीं करना है. I will not do 1 passage. I will not do parajumble and do parasamy or something like that. To me, 20 attempts, because I was assuming somewhere or the other you will not understand the question, leave couple of them. So 20 attempts is a fair attempt. But at 20 attempts, I will not look at the 50% accuracy. I will say I will focus on understanding and try to get a slightly higher accuracy.
So basically इधर जैसे खेलना है. एंड देन
बिल्कुल
इसमें फ्लक्चुएशन होगा, मतलब ये वाला फ्लक्चुएशन होने वाला है. फॉर एग्जांपल तेरा स्कोर 24 to 48, इफ समबडी अटेम्प्टिंग ऑल द 24 क्वेश्चंस, उनका एटीट्यूड क्या है, जो भी, आई थिंक दीस आर वेरी रिस्क टेकर होता है ना ये वाला लोग. मतलब दीज आर पीपल हु डोंट फील लाइक लीविंग क्वेश्चन वाले लोग होते हैं. ओके, तो इसमें रिस्क होने वाला है. तो योर स्कोर इज इंप्रूव, ये वाला लोग हो, बट एट द एंड ऑफ द डे यू हैव टू काइंड ऑफ बी हियर and ensure that anything above 2 out of 4 RCs minimum is we're looking at 2 questions out of 4 RC on an average. Or let's say यहाँ से for example BA
and
question में
even parasummaries and RC. Normally there are
yes,
not 16 questions but 18 questions of RC because to be parasummaries RC. It's a chotu RC, that's all.
correct. And another thing that you have to understand is ये वाला accuracy के लिए ना, one of the things that people miss out GP a lot is they have basically forgotten this VA exists. है ना? The VA is like 8 questions. 8 questions is 2 RCs. But you are not going to hit very high percentile if your VA is a problem. On the contrary, if out of these 8 questions, let's say you got net 5 questions correct. Well, net 5 questions correct, you were able to get 15 marks just from the VA alone. That 15 marks will automatically hit you at the 70th percentile. Then things is going to happen. So while you are also looking at the story of the cat, you ensure that you are at least here. मतलब बहुत सारे लोग क्या करते हैं जीपी इज दैट व्हेन दे एक्चुअली टेक दिस मॉक टेस्ट, नो, वो इधर रह जाता है. मतलब they don't even try to kind of move towards a 20. They're because when they try to move towards 20, the score is going to dip because you are whenever you're trying to change something, you things it is not comfortable to you. Things falls down. The moment things fall down, डर के you will go back to the old one. But the point the GP is saying, जरा तू 16 attempt करके मतलब getting very high percentile हो सकता है, but it's very unlikely. And then therefore you have to kind of move to attempt and look at these kind of stuff. इसमें let me give you on attempt का one perspective. For example, let's look at 20 attempt. There are 2 choices in terms of me attempting 20 questions. Choice number 1 is बैठ के decide कर लो one complete RC passage I will not solve only. I think this is what many people do. मतलब they go through the 4 RC passages, then they look at okay passage number 2 टॉपिक इज फिलोसफी, मेरे से होगा नहीं, पैसेज नंबर 1 है, देन आई विल सॉल्व दिस. तुम्हारा मन का assumption क्या है? योर assumption is that this passage easy for you. So let me put a green color, easy के लिए green. This passage looks very easy to read. This passage looks very easy to read. This passage looks very moderate to read. Okay, let me put yellow color for that particular passage. This passage looks very moderate to read. ये वाला passage looks very difficult to read. तो ये है, तो आई विल सॉल्व पैसेज नंबर 1, पैसेज नंबर 3 एंड आई विल नॉट सॉल्व एनी ऑफ दीज क्वेश्चंस. ये वाला क्वेश्चन मैं करूंगा नहीं, बिकॉज योर assumption is what all these questions are difficult. Your second assumption is all these questions are going to be easy because the passage is easy. Your assumption is these questions are going to be easy. Your assumption is ये वाला questions will all be moderate. ये moderate होगा. ये this color coding is what you assuming. ये आपका color coding है. You are assuming कि ऐसा होगा. And what I'm going to showcase is the CAT 2023, like I told you, after the CAT 2023, there is CAT releases response sheet where the students can get to know especially what question they have marked, what is the answer, to raise any objection if they have. At that point in time, we ask students to submit that particular data so we can predict the percentile. And our prediction of percentile has been very solid and very good. And we have got a lot of that data. So we have got data about those 25 students, and we have analyzed those 25,000, I'm saying 25,000 plus students. We analyzed that data and looked at what is the percentage accuracy of each of these questions in CAT 2023 and whether it is like this. And story ये है. मतलब let me say this is accuracy versus attempt. This is talking about the percentage of students. The white जो line है, this white line talks about the percentage of students who attempt the question. So ये वाला point. For example, this particular question attempted by 55% of the students, and this particular point talks about what percentage of the students got that question correct, and we kind of color coded it. Now this is the data of about 25-30,000. If you look at 2 lakh, maybe this might go down a bit, but this will still get a picture. You tell me, मतलब ये tell me इसमें easy passage कौन सा है, difficult passage कौन सा है, एक बार बताओ. GP क्या है? What is CC passage? What is difficult passage? Look at this data and tell me what. How do you differentiate? Do you differentiate between these and these two? You, you're so the point is, at the end of the day, your problem is not going to be with the passage. Your problem eventually going to be with the how the options are created. There can be very difficult passages to read, but the options are very easy to navigate. There could be very easy passages to read, but the options are very difficult to navigate. At the end of the day, I want to take out marks. GP?
Hmm. Absolutely right, Jijo. And कहानी वहीं पे है. It is. In fact, I would go a step further and say, in my experience, most of the time I have found that so-called difficult passages have easy questions, and the so-called easy passages have difficult questions. And I'm looking at from an examiner's point of view. If I'm an examiner, I'm a paper setter, I've given a difficult passage already. I will make the question a little easy so that on an average, each passage is at the same level. So between the level of difficulty of understanding the passage and the level of difficulty of question, there will be some kind of a parity between, and that is what these four passages are telling you. That between that's very difficult. You can at best say, second passage में there's one difficult question. First passage has got three easy questions, so ठीक है, थोड़ा सा we can probably do some minor variation from there. But beyond that, nothing much can be done. So at no stage should we worry about the passage being difficult or easy. Just do all the passages. That should be the focus.
Yeah, so Ismail, second thing is that second of all, we'll come to know only after the paper is done. This is
Yes,
after the test
absolutely.
analysis. मतलब जो easy or difficult है, मतलब किसको पता? It is based on. So, for example, I am saying that if 70% of the students who took the test got a
पोस्टमार्टम
question.
है ना ये तो.
हाँ, पोस्टमार्टम है ना. अगर 70% बच्चे को वो क्वेश्चन पे नहीं किया, तो मैं बोल रहा हूँ वो क्वेश्चन सही नहीं है. इजी होना चाहिए. अगर ये वाला क्वेश्चन में 17% got the question right. Majority had a problem with a particular question. We are stating the question to be difficult. ये postmortem है. In the beginning, we never know what the question is or difficult. So I'm going to give the data, this color coding of the open CDC, the CDC ProMock number 1, CDC ProMock number 2. ये color coding है. But these greens are together, but these are दो green is in passage number 1 and 3 green is in passage number 2. Obviously one can say that okay ये वाला passage एकदम so sort of खराब है, and at this point in time what can actually see is that that we have got certain challenges that is happening with respect to VA. Public is not doing VA really well, but if you kind of look at the distribution, the easy, medium, difficult question eventually boils down to how the options are created. This is something that you got to understand. This is something that got to understand. Second thing is game इधर होता है GP. मतलब ये तो तुम सही कर लोगे मेरे हिसाब से. हाँ. ये डिफिकल्ट वाला क्वेश्चन में लाइकली यू विल गेट इट रॉन्ग. ये गेम इधर है. ये मॉडरेट लेवल डिफिकल्टी
Yes,
क्वेश्चन नेविगेटिंग.
absolutely.
हाँ. गेम इधर है. हाँ. तुम्हारा गेम इज अबाउट व्हेन about 50%, only 50% or 40% get the question correct. Are you part of that group? Yeah, this is usually the case where you have one correct option, one
One.
stupid option, two stupid option, one option awesome option. ये normally ये case होता है. हाँ, ये medium वाला paper में. Anything beyond this is going to be difficult. If there is one question with one stupid and two awesome, मतलब गया. मतलब you're going to get into the reds. But yeah. So your ability to understand the traps of handling this is going to make and break the whole thing. So when it's like this, GP, what is next mock, next CAD? One of the things that students understand is I'm talking about passages. The time to solve a particular passage, the time to solve total time. Let's talk about total time. Is time to read the passage plus time to solve question 1 plus time to solve question 2 plus time to solve question 3 plus time to solve question 4. ये है total time. पब्लिक क्या है, आई थिंक दैट एवरी एफर्ट इज ऑन दिस ओनली. हम लोग इसको अब्यूज करते हैं ज्यादा. आई हैव टू रीड द पैसेज फास्ट, आई हैव टू सेव द टाइम without knowing that the biggest time waste happens in these questions. All you have to do is get stuck with option number 1 and 2 and waste 2 minutes here. There are a lot many questions, GP, wherein there are a lot many questions when the kids are not confused with the options. If they're not confused with the option, they're able to navigate this in about 30 seconds. The question can be
Yeah.
done in 30-45 seconds. But when they are confused with an option, if they stick to it, it can go to 2 minutes, 3 minutes, before you know it.
Not,
The,
no, not only that, they will go back to the passage and effectively end up reading the stupid passage again
correct.
and still not be any wiser with respect to the correct answer.
So this reading the passage, this is more or less, I'm going to say constant, because the passage the number of word is constant, which is about 500 words. There could be certain variation in terms of dense level, but mota mota ye to constant hai. Ye to constant hai. Tumhara read of pace of comprehension is fixed. The game at the end of the day is how we get navigate with the option. Therefore, like GP said, why can't, for example, I read the particular passage, I read this particular passage, I read this particular passage, I read this particular passage. Let's take the time to be about 5 minutes per passage. Let's assume 5 minutes you take, which is like 500 words. Ke liye 5 minutes is like 100 words per minute. मतलब ये slow है, but it's not like huge. So 5 minutes per passage.
And Gijo,
Uh,
in the AV, I'm sure if the students check their reading speed, the normal reading speed, they'll find it is in excess of 250 words per minute.
250 वर्ड से 2-3 मिनट में हो जाएगा. Let's assume that you take about 5 minutes per passage.
Take 3 minutes.
I'm taking 5 minutes, GP. This is like 20 minutes for the 4 passages. We still have 8 minutes. If, for example, I'm not going to get confused with any question, in 8 minutes, I can solve all the 16 questions. Well, yeah, with this also.
That's right.
But I'm going to get confused with some question. But if I only solve this question, that I'm not assuming that out of the 16 question, I got confused with 6 of them. I did not get confused with 10 of them. If I decide strategically saying that if I'm going to skip the question when I'm getting confused, I pick up the questions first. If I have time towards it, I'll come back and solve it. You can still solve some 10 questions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, maybe like that. Very likelihood the accuracy of this is likely going to be more than 50%. Very likely is going to be more than 50%. We are already in that game of 50, 60%, 70%. And then there's question of VMA. If you are reasonably good in terms of having the process, your sort of life will go. So the decision, GP, at the end of the day is also GP. There are people who spend about first 4 minutes deciding which passage to solve.
Yes.
4 minutes, you can read one passage only. No, you're deciding what passage to solve. This is, yeah. I'm not asking you to solve all the 4 passages or all the 24 questions. I'm not asking you to solve this. I am basically saying that before entering the examination hall, you cannot have an attitude that I will not solve one passage. I will only solve 2 passages. I will only solve 3 passages. You should keep it very simple. Passage पढ़ने का जो question दिख रहा है, if you are able to navigate it, handle it. If you cannot, move to the next question. And that is the best thing. That's the decision that you have to make. Decision has to be based in individual question. Okay, decision with respect to reading the passage at your pace of comprehension, an individual decision per question. And then once a mock is done, what you got to analyze is analyze the individual decision that you made in each question, and then figure out what is the good decision that he made, what is the bad decision that he made, and how do I, for example, some decision is going to be bad, I'm sure, but we eventually look at how do I sort of figure out how to make better decision every single time. ये है GP मेरे हिसाब से game for VRC, GP.
Absolutely.
Anything?
No, I think that covers everything. That end of the day, you do the paper, come back and ask yourself, was my process fine or not? What you're saying, that was what the decisions I had taken, which are the ones which worked for me, and which are the decisions which were poor decisions. But before that, if you in the paper you have not been able to solve it completely, please solve at least the passages which you or the question which you did not. Ideally, I would say resolve the entire paper and then see if you have your understanding was better this time or not, and what were the mistakes you committed while attempting the paper.
Yeah. So in the initial lesson, we talked about how should one analyze a section for improvement. The overall the outcast score we discussed, and this is sort of we discussed this category. This is then is while taking the test, in the exam, in the mock, during mock. This is like after the mock, without looking at the solution, we read it all the question once again. So this is the retake post the test that we've taken, and then it was correct. Now it is correct. Amazing, good shot. And this is going to be very high, likely. During the mock, it was correct. When I look at it right now, I'm not too sure now. लेकिन risk लिया था, लेकिन marks आया था. Then there are these unforced errors. We made silly mistake. Then it was wrong. but currently it is now correct, and that is unforced error. There is a double negative, then it is wrong. Now also it is wrong. The double negative because you spend time to get a wrong answer. So negative double hai, matlab. So this is where essentially happens to many of you. When you decided that ये passage करना है, इसका 4 question करना ही है, and then you know that you don't know this particular question, yet you forcefully take a risk. After the examination, you still don't know the answer. You talk about why, and a lot of this missed question. The question that you simply did not even look at it, and how many of this question currently is correct. The question that some question you looked at it and skipped, and today, and when you read the paper, it is wrong. So this is amazing. This is a great decision. This is a great decision. This is of course a great decision. This is a risky decision, but you just start to evaluate whether risk is working in your favor. Other this is this is a bad decision. Well, you missed an opportunity. This is really bad decision in terms of, yeah, but why did you under this unforced error is unforced error. Sometimes you make mistake, but I think that it may not be with you have to evaluate what happened here. Very likely GP वो passage जल्दी पढ़ के क्या होगा
It is a process flow.
Very likely to be a process flow. So what you have to do is, if let's say I can be here, this my Aukat score. This is what is my Aukat score. If I can be here, how do I ensure this happen? Every single negative that you save is negative that you get correct. It is plus 4 marks, -1 to +3. That is a +4 jump. Every double negative that you miss. So this impact of this, the impact of this is going to be a +4 impact. The impact of this is a +1 impact in terms of your score. The impact of this is a +4 impact. This impact of missed opportunity is a +3 impact. Every question has got a +3 impact. Either. So the thing is that if I am not doing is one this retaking of the test important, and I would go one step ahead to write down these tomorrow decisions. लिख लो. And I'm sure that even in the next mock, you'll have new set of problem. There'll be a lot of fluctuation, but at least you will get an understanding about what the issue is, and then you can make the corrective step. Then you can make the corrective step in terms of, sir, Majana, I'm not able to figure out the very difficult trap, so I'll have to do some work by the side. So all that you can do, but this analysis के बिना ना मतलब this is very important here. मतलब I'm sure that it's important everywhere else, but analyzing the decision that you made and why, पूछना है why did you miss this question? Why did you end up doing this? Why was it the good? Sometimes this cannot be so let me talk about well left. Sometimes you just left the passage, okay, by out of sheer luck. We were lucky.
Yes.
Sometimes
Don't
you
take credit
decided
for that.
हाँ उसके लिए क्रेडिट नहीं है. तूने डिसाइड किया ये मेरे को कंफ्यूज होने वाला है, मैं छोड़ दिया इसको और मस्त है. दिस विल बी अमेजिंग डिसीजन. दिस इज लाइक यू सेव्ड 1 mark. मतलब saved 1, मतलब otherwise 1 mark would have gone. इसमें saved है. So this every good shot is a, so ये game GP.
So Gejo, when I would analyze my, and talking about ages ago, when I was analyze my papers, I would look at this kind of a table only, and I would ask myself, risky shot. What are those kind of questions that can I find a pattern that where I'm able to get it right, or is it most of the time I'm getting it wrong? If risky shot is 50% in my favor, it is not in my favor. Okay? I want a risky shot to be something like 70% in my favor. 3 out of 4 I'm getting right, and I would try to see if there was a pattern. If I could decipher the pattern, I would continue with it. If I could not decipher pattern, I would not do it. Okay? That's one thing. Secondly, when I look at unforced error, I'll ask what made me make what was the reason why I made this mistake? Was I in a rush? Did I read the passage carefully or not, or did I just let's say without even understanding the question fully, I jumped to answering the question? Was I reading the passage fast? Did I miss some data? Or did I skim through the question and did not really pay attention to it? What was it that made it to be a wrong answer when it should logically have been the correct answer because I knew what the correct answer was? Or maybe it was just a simple galti se mark kar diya, lapse of concentration. But I need to know why it happened. Then double negative, as you said, one of the worst decisions I can take. This is that not just this is being foolhardy. This is not being risky shot. I'm still okay with. Double negative is foolhardy. I know I have not understood, but I'll still mark an answer because desperation memory. Okay? I will never be desperate in a paper because I know this paper has very low standards and low benchmarks, and a few correct answers will give you a 80-90 percentile. So never be desperate in this paper. Just and when does this desperation happen? When I decided I'll do only 2 passages or I'll do only 10 questions. Then there's desperation because each of them has. So I will definitely try to mark an answer. Okay, and which is why it is always good to have a larger pool of questions to worry about. So double negative, what made me mark an answer? Why did I mark an answer even though I knew it was not something which I've understood? Okay. Next thing, missed opportunity. Why did I miss an easy question? Again, there are possibility I skimmed through the passage only, or I skimmed through the question. It would also be I did not get sufficient time to do a passage, and that passage had 2 or 3 easy questions, and I missed that. So why did I miss? Why did I not have sufficient time? I will ask myself, where did I waste time in the paper? Because somewhere I have wasted time because 40 minutes is sufficient to complete this section. 7 to 8 minutes per passage and about 8 to 10 minutes for the verbal part. If not 24 out of 24, you'll definitely be able to do 20, 22 questions comfortably. So to me, 40 minutes is sufficient to do this section. So I'll ask myself, where did I waste time? Now, one of the biggest wastage of time happens, as you rightly said, in the options. I keep looking at the 2 options. Okay, choice A1 and choice 3 look correct. Which is looking better? Which is looking worse? What is right here? And then I go back to the passage and try to get some data from the passage. All that takes time. And suddenly you'll find 3 minutes are gone. That 3 minutes, had I not done it, I just left that question if I was confused. I would have saved those 3 minutes. And if I can save three minutes in 3 questions, I have more than enough time for 1 extra passage. So where did I waste time? To me is a very, very important question I want to find the answer of. I don't want any unproductive time and don't want any time wastage. Where should I be using my time? Either I should be reading the passage to understand it, or I should read the passage, read the question and mark the answer and move on. If I'm spending more than 45 seconds in a question, I'm possibly wasting time. Because the more you go through the choices, the more confused you will get, the more, let's say, analysis you will do, and analysis paralysis is a very common thing. Right? When left again, I'll ask myself, why did I leave it? As Gejo, you rightly said, galti se chhoot gaya. That is not something to my credit. Okay. And why did I leave? I really did not understand, and I was not sure about the passage. I left it. Great, good decision. Please continue with this. So for each question, whether right or wrong, I have to check out why it happened. Because once I know why it happened, then the right habits I will continue with, and the wrong habits I'll stop.
Yeah. Other big problem about lot of this problem happens is because of a pre-decided mindset. हम लोग
Absolutely.
टारगेट लेके जाते हैं, अब मुझे 24 अटेम्प्ट करना है, बिकॉज 24 अटेम्प्ट करना है, मेरे को 3 पासेज करना है, मुझे 4 पासेज करना है. मतलब ये प्री डिसाइडेड कुछ नहीं है. एंड देन यू आर स्टाइंग दैट ओके जीपी सर टोल्ड, जीजो सर टोल्ड, सर सब पैसे देखना है, मैं जल्दी जल्दी करूंगा. यू हैव टू गो एट योर पेस. आई थिंक दैट इफ यू मेक गुड डिसीजन एवरी सिंगल टाइम, एवरी सिंगल क्वेश्चन, सो द मार्क्स that you're going to get is on the questions. The information to answer the question is there in the passage. तो पैसेज से जल्दी पढ़ के कुछ फायदा नहीं है, पैसेज को स्लो पढ़ेगा और प्रॉब्लम. सो आई डोंट, बट आई हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड, आई डोंट नो की आइडिया ऑफ द पर्टिकुलर पैसेज, पढ़ लिया, I am here with the question. Question number 1 दिख गया, मिल गया, निकल गया. Question number 2 confused हो रहा है. I don't know where this information is. I'm getting confused. Oh, should I waste time? Let me just skip it. Let me move to the next question. And actually GP, when these people do the short test ना, short RC test लेते हैं ना, ये सब प्रॉब्लम होता नहीं है. मॉक में जाके प्रॉब्लम होता है. You know why? When they do short RCs, वो पैसेज है, then is question 1, question 2, question 3, question 4. A short test में no, you actually have a better decision making, because in the short test, let's say that you are given let's say 10 minutes for one RC to solve. तुम क्या करते हो वो टाइम पे? पैसेज पढ़ते हो, क्वेश्चन नंबर 2 क्वेश्चन नंबर 1 कर लिया, क्वेश्चन नंबर 2 कंफ्यूज्ड है, देन एक्चुअली यू स्किप द क्वेश्चन, मूव टू क्वेश्चन नंबर 3, क्वेश्चन नंबर 4 एंड कम बैक टू इट व्हेन यू हैव टाइम टुवर्ड्स द एंड. ये वाला अमेजिंग डिसीजन यू मेक इन द शॉर्टेस्ट, ये वाला इधर नहीं होता है. People feel that यार छूट गया, मतलब I read the passage will feel bad ना if I leave it, मतलब passage को गलत मतलब. and you can always have the attitude, I'm not leaving, I'll come back later. ये छोटा motivation. And then any sort of low marks that you get here, any low mark that you get, please don't treat it as a failure. Please treat it as a great learning opportunity. You get, I don't know how many marks eventually you'll take. I'm guessing you'll take about 30 marks. You already would have taken some amount of marks. I know that from now maybe you'll take about 18 20 marks, maybe roughly around that number, maybe about around 20 marks you'll take. 20 marks made 20 amazing learning. And then you keep you pick this up, and then you go sort of take the cat. And here इसमें एक चीज सामने बोला नहीं है, एग्जाम के बाद करना क्या, मतलब ये वेल लेफ्ट वाला अच्छा है, डेलिबरेट वेल लेफ्ट, बट नेक्स्ट टाइम should I have to work on these things? Should I have to, let's say, sir, I've got problem, I've identified a pattern. Usually a pattern milta nahi hai, but I've identified, let's say, this problem. Then you make the corrective answers. But yeah, analysis. So GP, one other thing, na public, yeah, the question that he got right now, वो analyze नहीं करते लोग. This is a very
मुझे सब करना है, मुझे ये पता करना है जो सही हुआ क्यों गलत सही हुआ. Because only when I know why did I get it right will I be able to perpetuate that habit. That habit I have to continue with. So end of the day, what you said, decisions. Which are the right decisions? What made me take those right decisions? So it is the process I would want to focus on. If my process is right, the outcome will be right. As you said, read at your pace. Don't slow down. Don't become very fast. If you become very fast, comprehension will go for a toss. If you slow down, you'll still not understand the passage because you'll be focusing on the words and the meanings rather than the big picture. So I will read at my pace, get the big picture, go to the question, whatever I understand, mark or leave. Now, one last thing which I wanted to look at is most of the questions that you have got right, you would have spent only 30 to 45 seconds on those questions.
Correct.
Most of the questions you have got wrong, you would have spent about a minute and a half on those questions. What is that telling you? Spending time in English is not the solution. The solution is understanding the passage when you have read it, and then it will happen. Otherwise, if you have understood the passage, you will get it in those 30, 40, 50 seconds. If you have not understood the passage well, then even 1.5 or 2 minutes is in the question, you will only end up with a negative.
Yeah, ये कहानी है. अब ये एक नो नेगोशियबल्स नहीं, एक ही है. द नॉन नेगोशियबल नंबर 1 है रोने धोने के नहीं है, एनालिसिस निकालना है. एनालिसिस में एनालिसिस वेरी वेरी सिंपल. एनालिसिस में यू टेक अ मॉक, and then after the mock, when you look at the score, all these things, all this anger, sorrow, ये सब irrelevant है. If you stick to a process is redo the questions without any sort of percent time. Redo all the questions. And the process number 3, create your औकात grid. ये एक ग्रिड क्रिएट कर लो, कितना है गुड शॉट कितना. इनफैक्ट इन आर CDC promoc interface, these buttons are already there. I'm sure the good shot, risky shot, unfortunate, double negative, you can mark there only when you do the analysis, which udhar already hai this analysis. We have created this for you guys. Whenever you see good shot, risky shot, unfortunate, double negative, miss opportunity, well left, udhar already hai, उसमें क्लिक कर सकता है. And then उसके बाद then you once you check, then is where ask the questions, why, ask all the question. ये सब होने के बाद is where you actually look at the solution. Solution में either you can look at the written solution, you can look at the video solution. If it is a CDC Pro mock, then the video solution would have been created by me. So you look at the video solution. Malab, it is also important to look at the video solution. If you decide to look at solution for everything. ये मतलब ये पकड़ के GP, मतलब this is like a 40 minutes to take the test. Redo, let's count about 60 minutes. Creating your own sheets, पकड़ के another 10. If you are using the sort of the the tools that we have provided, then it will take immediately. Then the analyzing the why, let's take another 20-30 minutes. Watching the solution for entire thing and the video, it's about an hour's time. That's about 60 minutes. So it's like 1 hour or 2 hour. ये मतलब ये सब पकड़ के 3 घंटे का है process, one section. And
And this way, एक चीज ना, I will say you should definitely look at the video solutions uh, and the video attempt, because when you look at the video attempt, you understand how in during the while taking the paper we take those decisions. Okay? And when you look at the video solution, you will be able to understand how the choices have to be eliminated. Okay? Because we will say, okay, this is the word which made me think that this choice is going to be extreme, and hence let me eliminate this choice. So we have, and when people say that English is an art, no, reading comprehension is not an art, it's a science.
correct.
There are 4 or 5 rules which we follow to eliminate incorrect options. Okay, if so, so the idea is in the video solution, if you just go through them, you'll be able to understand how to apply those 5 rules. End of the story. To me, that is what works.
Yeah. So just to talk about this video solution for the CDC Pro Mocks, since I am taking the video solution, you know what I do? This is what I do actually to kind of help you understand what traps you fell for. No, once. So for example, I usually record on Monday morning. So the Saturday, Sunday, there are already some students who already taken the test. I take the data out for every single question. I take the data out in terms of for every single question, the 4 answer choices, what percentage marked each of these answer choices. ये मैं देखता हूँ. Then they understand. Okay, then I get to know which specific option pained public the most. Which question was it, and then accordingly I create the explanation. Yeah, yeah. This is a kind of ये solution मैं करता हूँ आपके लिए. And then what is kind of strange is that हम लोग ना analysis and all is not important for us only. I think that for us it's about doing more and more and more and more and more. I have a question to ask you. You have solved 200 RC passages. Count kar lo. Your score has not improved. What is the guarantee that the next 50 may your score improve? Next 100 may score improve? Unless and until you don't do this analysis every single time. It's not about, I will stop saying solving. Don't solve thing. I think that the entire process, the process of learning, is not a process of solving a test. It's a process of learning from the test. So if you have that attitude, I'm sure that there are I think there are by the let's take just CDC Pro mock only. 15 मॉक है, 15 मौके करेंगे, एवरी सिंगल एनालाइज करेंगे, वीडियो सोल्यूशन देख लोगे, वीडियो अटेम्प्ट देखोगे, मतलब कुछ तो होना चाहिए. So there is of course a element of luck factor and whatever on the day of the cat you have moved, but at least कुछ तो होगा. I think that you will be in the direction, whatever is a fluctuation that happens, you kind of learn from each mock, and then eventually you'll get here.